When you leave the international airport of Rio de Janeiro and head towards the south of the city, which is where all the beaches are, you pass a sprawling informal settlement called Maré. It's one of hundreds of neglected shanty towns like this in Rio. It goes on for miles. But when you pass by there today, all you see is this wall. Look at this map of Rio. Here's the part that you probably know. It's the South Zone. It's where all the iconic beaches are. Maré is in Rio's North Zone, which is where most of the city's poor live.
A barreira acústica, a ideia, segundo eles, era para poder barrar o som, porém é nítido que essa barreira, o único intuito dela é para quê? Para que as pessoas que saem do aeroporto do Galeão e vão sentido a Zona Sul não consigam ver a realidade da cidade.
They don't have sewage systems, they don't have housing rates, they don't have anything. But, you know, the city is really concerned about how loud the cars are. So, because they're worried about, you know, the ears of the poor people that don't have food in their stomach.
The city just installed a big new school in this community a few months ago. You'll note that when we get to this part of the highway, the wall becomes totally transparent, giving us a perfect view of the shiny school. Every time international attention comes to Rio, the city scrambles to build up infrastructure around tourism for visitors to see that it's this amazing city. The problem is, the visitors will come and they go, but the people of Rio are here to stay. And they're frustrated. They're frustrated that their government will spend so much money to build up certain parts of the city and completely neglect others. The Olympics is no different in this case. In fact, it's probably the biggest excuse Rio has to pour tons of money into making the city look good. This is Patricia. She rides the buses here in Rio and has noticed a major change in the bus routes recently.
It used to be a line who left Ramos, within the North Zone, to Cosme Velho, where we have the Christ. And this line was extinguished.
Patricia is showing me a few examples of the 11 bus lines that were cut between the poor North Zone and the touristy rich South Zone, all in preparation for the Olympics. It's now much harder for a resident of the North Zone to get down to the beaches of Ipanema or Copacabana. So why cut the bus line?
If all of these black people, poor people, barefoot people are there, it's like, no, we have to clean this. And they always wanted to clean, but now they have a purpose, they have a deadline to do this.
If discriminatory bus lines are bad, here's where it gets worse. So back to this map. Out here in the west is a place called Baja. R's are pronounced like H in Portuguese. This is a new part of the city where a lot of the Olympics action is happening. It's where the Olympics Park is going to be built. And because of this, it's home to what one real estate publication is calling a cosmopolitan awakening. Tons of real estate investment. And of course, a bunch of dramatic promotional videos to go with it. There's this one guy named Carlos Carvalho. He's a real estate developer, and he owns 64 million square feet in Baja. Last year, in a series of interviews with big publications, Carvalho sketched out his dream for Baja. His goal is to turn this place into a new Rio, a city for the elite, of good taste, noble housing, not housing for the poor. This guy's the 12th richest person in Brazil, and he's got a ton of political influence to make his dream happen. Here he is with Rio's mayor, whose re-election campaign he generously donated to. They're just, looking over plans for how they're going to reshape Baja. But there's one big problem for people like Carlos Carvalho and his dream to make Baja a haven for the rich.
If your interest is in land value, the less poor people you have in your land, the greater value you can give it to it. They think of the city as a place for you to invest in, not a place for you to live in.
Over the years, little settlements of a few hundred families have popped up in Baja. It's usually workers unable to find affordable housing and creating communities of their own. These places have been around for decades, and many of them have gained legal status for their property. But to the luxury-minded developers of this new part of town, these informal settlements represent a barrier to their plan. So when the Olympic Park was planned for this area of Rio, It wasn't much of a surprise when the city came in with eminent domain eviction orders, telling these communities that they would be moved to public housing complexes, usually far out of sight of any international visitors. Most communities left, some happily taking the money that the city gave them. Some mounted intense but failed resistance. But I visited one community that didn't give up on the fight to keep their homes.
Quando falaram que as Olimpíadas ia ser no Rio de Janeiro, nós já sabíamos que o nosso problema ia aumentar.
Villa Autódromo was a community of around 600 families near where the Olympic Park is being built. It's not on the actual park property, but it's in the site of the park. This is what it looks like today.
People chose to go there because there was no drug trafficking or militia. It was very safe, very good sense of community, near jobs, near schools. It's hard to know that when you just visit the community. But you kind of get a sense of that by seeing the people who are still resisting, you know, because they're holding on to that memory and they want to keep some of that alive.
After years of fighting with the city hall, only 20 families of the original 600 remain in this community. Fierce protesting and a flurry of international press got the mayor to finally concede, saying that the 20 families could stay on condition that the city would build them nicer-looking homes, lest, heaven forbid, the international community catch a glimpse of the real Rio.
Tínhamos árvores frutíferas que nos alimentavam, que nós plantamos, e não tem como ter que refazer isso tudo novamente. Cada canto daquela casa foi construído com muito carinho, as árvores, as plantas.
O que impede a Vila Autódromo de permanecer do lado do Parque Olímpico? É alguma razão urbanística? Não, não é. É uma razão uma razão dos interesses econômicos que estão ligados à valorização imobiliária. Não tem outra razão.
Apesar de eu ter me preparado antes, eu sabia que um dia minha casa ia ter que ser demolida, mas para mim esse período foi o pior momento de toda a luta.
Through the long fight, some of Villa Autódromo was able to stay. But this is rare. Most communities that receive eviction orders no longer exist. At least 77,200 people have been removed from their homes in Rio de Janeiro since 2009. That's according to government data. And much of this is to make way for infrastructure and real estate projects associated with the World Cup and the Olympic Games.
So it's kind of a shame because the Olympics ends up coming in and kind of whitewashing the areas and creating and reframing them. And, you know, you lose a lot of the personality of the city.
Of course, there have been numerous benefits to the people of Rio thanks to the Olympics investments. New bus lines, revitalizations of old parts of the city, museums, parks. This stuff will make life better in the city for sure. But in the end, billions of public dollars that were supposed to benefit the people ended up bowing to the interests of a few people with a lot of money. And instead of investing in the underserved, Rio will once again hide them from view.